When I was back in the UK over the summer, I did a book signing and I met about 500 people. It was a lot of fun, a lot of people. But I asked each and every person the same question when I met them, and that was, where are you from, mate, innit? And I got different answers. They were from Leeds, Nottingham, London. But when I asked them the next question, which is, what are those places like? What's it like where you're from? They always came up with the same answer. And the answer was that they're shit. Now maybe that's a pessimistic British thing, I don't know. It turned out the only place in the UK that people are actually proud to be from is Shropshire. So well done, Shropshire. I don't know what goes on there, but it must be good. But when you ask a Japanese person where they're from, quite the opposite. They'll actually be proud of their hometown. They'll have a sort of nostalgic fondness from the place that they're from. Where are you from?
Hiroshima.
Is it good?
Of course.
It's a testament to how towns in Japan make their locals actually feel part of something bigger, make them feel part of the community. And one way they do that every year is through festivals. Now you might be thinking, look dickhead, you can't appropriate a Japanese ancient festival dating back literally thousands of years, mate, innit? To which I say, but wait, many of the festivals don't date back, again, quite as far as you think. Take the Fertility Festival, beloved by Joey the Anime Man. It dates back to just 1969. Nice. There's also my favourite festival, the Tachinepota Festival in Aomori, with the tallest floats in all of Japan, towering 23 metres above the city. That only dates back to 1996. And when the first festival was over, to celebrate this majestic artwork that they created over many months, painstakingly built, they did what any good town would do. They incinerated it in a field. They burnt it alive. I don't know why. If I'd been there working on it, I'd have been very, very disappointed. But there's also the Funeko Nagashi Boat Festival in Aomori, where every year they construct beautiful, elaborate boats. And then they burn them. They burn them in the river. They burn them all. Why do Japanese festivals need to burn everything? I don't understand. But the point is, festivals are fun and they bring the community together and you get to burn things. Now, I'm not saying we steal these specific festivals, though it could be quite fun, especially the fertility one. What I'm saying is we embrace the locality of our own town. For example, the town that I'm from in England is called Maidstone. And in 1897, we had what was then the largest ever typhoid epidemic in England in the 19th century. What better, unique, historic event to reenact and celebrate every year than the typhoid epidemic? But honestly, I've never seen local communities in Japan come together like they do when there's a festival. The elderly, the schools, the kids, everyone gets stuck in. And I want to steal that feeling of pride that they have. I want to steal that sense of belonging. And perhaps above all, I want to burn it all in a field. I want to burn it in a field for fun. Maybe that's why I want the festivals. I'm a pyromaniac at heart. Somebody who spends their time often on the road in hotel rooms. This is my favourite thing. You ready? Spilling water all over the floor. You could do it. It seems trivial. It seems even sad by some accounts. But spill water on the bathroom floor in the UK, watch it seep through the floorboards and get ready to check out your home insurance policy. Here, you don't have to worry about that. Here, you can splash water wherever you want, all over the floor, all over the $3,000 cinema camera. Oh. Japanese hotel rooms often feel like there's an anomaly, as though the bathroom hasn't so much been built into the room as simply dropped in, and that's because it often has. The bathroom is a self-contained wet room made of prefabricated plastic, like that, where you've got your bathtub, your shower, your sink and toilet all included in one very tiny space. In fact, I've had to break the rules of physics to be able to get inside this damn thing, contort and break my legs. I actually think I might be stuck, but I'll deal with that later. But they make very good use of the space. The tap for the basin is also the tap for the bath. And while the size varies, the one consistency in Japanese hotels is the bathroom will be functional. Unlike many hotels around the world where a good bathroom in a 2 or 3 star hotel often feels like a nightmarish lottery. The idea of the wet room goes back to the Japanese household, where many family members share the same bath water. By first showering in this space here, hence the drainage plug down there, and then getting into the bath already clean. And even if you're not sold on the soulless but functional bathroom, there is one innovation I do think we should steal, and that is the toilet. No, not the washlet either. I'll never forget when I moved into my first apartment and I went into the toilet to find a wash basin built into the toilet itself. The idea being you wash your hands in the basin and that water goes through to rinse the toilet. An ingenious way of recycling water that would probably save the world an awful lot of wasted water if adopted universally. Go Japan, taking on wastage. Oh wait, individually wrapped bananas. Never mind. but for being able to splash around carefree all over the floor and know that when I check into a Japanese hotel, the bathroom is going to be functional and get the job done. I want to steal these modular bathrooms. That being said, I actually think I'm physically stuck in this bath. I can't move, like genuinely. Can somebody help me? Hello? Please, help me. Oh. Sugoi desu now. And now it's time for an impromptu quiz. Question 1, to risk it all, what percentage of Japan's population owns a passport? Is it A, 65%? Is it B, 25%? Or is it C, get out of my kitchen, why am I doing an impromptu quiz? And the answer is B, 25%. Isn't that crazy? For a country that has what's considered to be the best passport in the world for visa-free travel, only 25% have a passport. I guess one of the reasons is domestic travel within Japan is actually very good. And I think there's one reason above all that exploring the country can be very rewarding, dare I say, very filling indeed. Meibutsu means famous product or famous dish, and it's a really handy word to know. If you ever travel somewhere new in Japan, you can say Meibutsu wa nan desu ka? What's the local dish here? But Meibutsu is done on a truly astonishing scale here, where each and every one of Japan's 47 prefectures has at least one local dish or confectionery that it's famous for. For example, Miyagi Prefecture in Sendai, where I used to live, the local dish there is gyutan, literally cow tongue, and it's a lot more delicious than it sounds. Osaka is famous for okonomiyaki pancakes, of course. And Iwate has wankosoba noodles that I'm still recovering from with mild to moderate PTSD. Now, not all meibutsu are inherently good. Nagano's meibutsu is hachinoko, literally bee larvae. And we saw how that turned out for Natsuki when he attempted to consume that jar of horrendous, pasty, awful stuff. Now you might be thinking, you charming moron, you can't just invent a cuisine overnight. These meibutsu date back thousands of years. Which is bollocks, because Kyoto's most popular meibutsu is called yatsuhashi, and they're sweets that are just 30, 40 years old. And many of Japan's most popular dishes only date back to the post-war era, such as the aforementioned gyutan or okonomiyaki pancakes. But what I love about meibutsu is it kind of turns Japan into one big RPG. Like, there's a real incentive to go out and explore the country and kind of try all these new dishes. And you might be thinking, well, how do you learn about them? How do people know about these hundreds, if not thousands, of dishes around the country? And that is the genius part where Japanese TV comes in. As you may already know, Japanese TV obsesses over food like no other. In fact, it's estimated an incredible 40% of programming on TV here is focused on food. It's the ultimate marketing tool, and many of these shows are actually funded by the food or agricultural industry. But this cycle of creating a local dish and then marketing it over TV can have an incredible economic effect on more rural kind of areas. I mean, take wankosoba noodles, for example. Most tourists would never go to Morioka, as lovely as it is. But because of those noodles, people make the pilgrimage 2.5 hours north of Tokyo. But it's not just the local dishes that I want to steal, it's the place you eat them as well, and one very cosy type of place in particular. Imagine if a maze, a pub crawl, and your grand's cosy kitchen all had a baby. Welcome to Yokocho, Japan's answer to a night out, where you might need a map to navigate between all the tiny bars, but by the third stop, you probably won't care too much. Yokocho literally meaning side and street, and narrow alleyways lined with various small bars and restaurants, where the concept of personal space is simply a myth. Perhaps the best known ones are in Shinjuku, like Umuide Yokocho, literally memory lane, with 60 bars sandwiched between two alleyways, or Golden Guy, which looks like a cyberpunk wet dream. Make no mistake, Yokocho are pretty damn intense, as you literally rub shoulders alongside other customers in a hot, humid environment with your face mere inches from the grill behind the bar. But of course, odds are, if you're looking for a luxury dining experience, you won't be going to a Yokocho in the first place. You go because there's nothing else quite like it. For the cramped atmosphere, the good food, and the fact you can speak with the owner, who's there tending to the customers behind the bar. Hello. Nice guy. And more often than not, it's the owner who's the main draw card. I mean, Ryota and I once made a video in the town of Hachinohe, in far-flung Aomori, and people travelled across the region to meet the charismatic owner of the bar there, a hilarious woman who really wanted me to eat horse meat.
Horsepower!
But because Yokocho restaurants are so small, it means budding entrepreneurs and chefs can, test out the waters and start small. And in more recent years, they've even played a role in rejuvenating the economies of rural areas where the nightlife scene is on the decline. And as you sit packed in a tiny room alongside 6 or 7 people, eating delicious food and feeling undeniably claustrophobic, hopefully you'll see the appeal as well. But maybe I'm a little bit biased, given that the food you'll find most commonly in Yokocho happens to be the next thing I want to steal from Japan.
じゃあ
おかわりお願いします。
はいよ。おお。クリスさんビール好きだね。
そうですね。Bit too much. Bit too much. Right, I know what you're probably thinking here. You just added this point in, yakitori, because you wanted a tax-deductible way to eat your favourite Japanese dish. That's nonsense, heinous, hideous lies. I would never, ever do that. To which I say, it's not actually the yakitori chicken that I want to steal. It's a key ingredient required in making yakitori, and that's what I want to steal. More on that in a minute. But when I tell people I love yakitori, they're always kind of like, well, it's just the simplest, most boring dish. It's chicken on a skewer. And I get it. Putting some chicken on a stick over some charcoal is hardly bloody rocket science. And yet somehow, when walking the streets of the UK, you are more likely to run into a rocket scientist than you are into a good yakitori skewered restaurant. Yakitori, literally meaning grilled and burnt, is the simplest of dishes. Take a juicy cut of chicken, the breast, the thigh, the liver, the heart, the skin, the tail, and gently grill it over a charcoal grill, intermittently turning it, fanning it, seasoning it, and, well, yeah, alright, it's not as easy as it seems, to be honest. But a few years ago, the most critically acclaimed, award-winning restaurant in all of Japan was a yakitori restaurant hidden away in the central Japan Alps. It became so damn popular, you could only get in with an invite from a local. And I can assure you, I've never tried so hard to befriend the locals of a rural Japanese village. Suffice to say, I was unsuccessful. Wow. But even if I stole the idea of yakitori and tried to set up my own restaurant in the UK, there's one thing that might hold me back, one thing that would stop this from happening. And it all comes down to Japan's secret weapon, the highest quality charcoal on earth. Binchotan is typically white in appearance and burns longer and with more intensity than regular black charcoal. Simply put, if you were being roasted alive by cannibals, this is the one charcoal you wouldn't want them to use. But because of its high carbon, it produces little smoke as it burns, meaning unlike regular barbecues, where the food could have a bitter char-grilled taste, Binchotan imparts no additional flavour or aroma on the chicken, meaning it unlocks the full, juicy, meaty flavour of each cut. And Jesus Christ, I'm starting to feel hungry just thinking about it. Oh, God. Binchotan. It's the future. Binchotan is the reason Japanese yakitori has the edge. And for that alone, it's worthy of stealing, to unlock the magic of the nation's simplest but purest dish. God bless tax-deductible yakitori. And you know, before I moved to Tokyo, back when I was in Sendai, when I filmed in the studio, I'd often go to a yakitori restaurant round the corner once a week where I'd sit alone and devour 20 skewers of chicken. It was practically a bloody ritual, and yes, I was alone. And that is actually one of the next things I'd like to steal from Japan. In most countries, when you walk into a restaurant, the first question you get is, oh, how many customers? And if you go, oh, one please, you get the look of, oh, one of those customers. Oh, you can almost hear the sad soundtrack playing overhead, as if the people around you were taunting you, judging you, no less. What's the matter, mate? Got no fucking friends? Don't know why they sound like Joey. But meanwhile, Japan is optimised for solo dining. Go into any restaurant, and it's not an uncommon sight to witness diners eating or drinking alone, hunched over a counter, at a sushi restaurant or an izakaya pub or a bar. Hell, Ichiran Ramen even have individual booths, meaning you don't even need to look at another filthy customer while you enjoy your ramen. Though Ichiran has given the concept a somewhat questionable name of a flavour concentration booth. Sounds like a form of torture, but many restaurants have adopted this idea, with family restaurants now with their solo seats, and even yakiniku meat grilling restaurants where solo customers get their own private grill. But fundamentally, when I'm travelling Japan, I like the fact that if I'm alone, it doesn't limit my options in a way it kind of would in the West, right? I can walk into any restaurant, and when somebody goes, oh, nanmei sama desu ka, how many people? I can go, oh, hitori onegaishimasu, and they don't go, oh, I see, oh dear. And let's face it, it is especially convenient because I also have no friends as well. But that is the 12th and final thing that I want to steal from Japan. But what do you want to steal the most? I think if I had to choose one on this list, it would be kizukai. I think having a society that functions as one is really essential. And no, actually, fuck that. Oh, am I kidding? It would be Wagyu burgers. Of course it would be Wagyu burgers. But let me know in the comments which one you would choose. As always, guys, for more behind-the-scenes content, check out the Abroad Japan Patreon. And until then, I'll see you right back here to do it all over again next time on Abroad in Japan. As for me, I'm off to find a banana that'll fit this godforsaken banana case. Honestly, it's reasons like this that I dine alone most evenings.